First step of the home buying process here in Fairbanks, you guessed it, getting a pre-approval letter. Without this pre-approval letter, we are kind of stuck. One, we don't know what your buying power is. Two, you're not ready to write an offer anyway. So if you're ready to look at homes and you're ready to start the home buying process, you really need to have that pre-approval letter. The best thing that you can do is get in contact with a local lender, and one of the best choices for a local lender, especially here in Fairbanks, is Bethany Yoakum at First Rate Financial. She is fantastic. She'll help you get all your ducks in a row so that way when you're ready to shop, you're ready to go. The second step of the home buying process, now that you're pre-approved, we can start taking a look at some homes. And if we should happen to find that home that you can't live without, then we need to write an offer. And when we write an offer, a good strong offer, we need a couple of things. We need that pre-approval letter that we started with, and number one. And two, we need earnest money. And that earnest money, like I've said before, anywhere between 2% of the purchase price and $2,000. So if you can come up with $2,000, chances are you can buy a house. So now that we're looking at writing an offer, we need to keep in mind that everything that we ask for is going to come out of the seller's pocket. So if you'd like your offer to stand out, we need to make sure that we write an offer that's super clean and calculated based on exactly what we need in order to buy. Remember, you're going to be a seller someday, so you'll be looking for a nice clean offer from your buyers. And it's really good when you can remember, oh, when I wrote my offer, I didn't ask for X, Y, Z, and A. The third step of the home buying process, now that we're under contract, we want to reach out and schedule a home inspection. And we want to talk with the very best if we can. And Tim Henry is one of the very best that we can talk to. And he's going to look through the home and he's going to find items that are not safe, sound, and sanitary. That's kind of the benchmark there. And once we get that home inspection completed and we get the report back, we'll look through the items on that report and send over a list to the seller. And we'll ask for really the major items on that report, the ones that we can't do ourselves as a homeowner in the future. We want to look through that list and identify the items that would absolutely bite us on the rear end if and when we buy that house in the future, because it's those items that are really going to hurt later. It's the simple ones, like the little cosmetic things that we're not too worried about. Those can be taken care of during the winter, at our leisure. So the fourth step in the home buying process is the appraisal. And we need to schedule that appraisal within the first 7 days of the contract. And this one can be tough because we're really hoping that we can come in either at or above that value. And with pricing being what it is, especially here over the past couple of years, that can be tough. Now, if it comes in below that value, we're going to need to work with the seller and come up with sometimes a renegotiation on where we're at within the contract to do what we can to make things work. This can look like a whole bunch of different ways, and we just kind of need to be a little bit flexible to make things work. Now, if it doesn't work, we can get out of the contract and get our earnest money back and go home shopping again. But keep in mind, the seller still wants to sell their home and you still are in the process of buying a home. So if you want to sleep in a home in the next 30 days, let's keep working forward. So the fifth step in the home buying process here in Fairbanks is to get a septic inspection. And this, you really don't need it if you're living on city utilities or you're buying a home on city utilities. But if you're buying a home that is on a well and septic, this is something that needs to be done, especially if you've got an FHA or a VA home loan that you're trying to finance with. Both of those loan types are going to call for a septic inspection, and they're also going to need the well to be tested. Thinking about moving to Fairbanks? Well, click on the link below for my free relocation guide where I talk about top schools, top neighborhoods, and so much more. The sixth step in the home buying process here in Fairbanks is to get homeowners insurance. Get this process set up well before the end of the transaction. You do not want to wait until supposed to be closing to start talking to somebody about homeowners insurance, because that's when they're going to start to ask a whole bunch of questions that you're going to need to come up with answers for, and it's going to take some time to get some of those answers. You're going to have to ask other people for those answers. You're going to have to reach out to your lender, you're going to have to reach out to your agent or your licensee. So in doing that, you're just wasting your own time, and you could possibly be delaying closing for yourself later too. In delaying closing, you could be looking at possibly extending your rate lock, missing your closing date, which also puts your earnest money at risk. And you do not want to do anything to do that. Seventh part of the home buying process is staying in contact with your lender. And I know this one should kind of go without saying, but your lender is one of the most important people in your whole transaction, because without them, you're more than likely sunk. So when they start asking for document after document after document, it's probably going to be a lot of them. You need to be right on the spot with getting those back to them. If they've got to call you a whole bunch of times and send you a whole bunch of messages, it's going to further delay the whole process. And every delay that they have is a delay that you are going to have in getting into your home. And those delays eventually will end up costing money. And if those delays are due to your inability to stay in contact and to get documents back to your lender, then it's going to cost you money. The eighth part of the home buying process is the closing disclosure. So with the closing disclosure, your lender is going to send you a whole bunch of information showing you what you're going to spend on your property through the life of the loan. It's going to have a whole bunch of big, scary numbers on it. And for the most part, unless you're going to stay here for the rest of your life and you're going to live in your home for the next 30 years, you're more than likely not going to spend all of that money, spending all of that on interest. It's probably not going to happen. But the important thing to remember here is that after you sign that closing disclosure, nothing about your financial picture can change. You can't accrue any new debt. You can't pay off any old debt unless your lender absolutely knows about it. So now, or after you sign that closing disclosure, is not the time to go finance new furniture. Do not go buy a new car or a new truck because you're excited to be in Alaska. Don't finance anything. 0% down is 0% chance that you're going to buy anything. So the ninth step of the home buying process here in Fairbanks is the closing table and the final walkthrough. Closing table, we'll sit down with one of the fine title folks at either Fidelity or Stewart Title here in Fairbanks, and we'll go through all of the closing docs. We'll answer any questions that they may have, and we'll get all the title docs signed. Well, you will, I won't. And after that, we'll go to the property that we're under contract for, and we'll make sure that everything is as it should be. So if there's anything that, according to the contract, should be there but is not, then we'll talk with the other side and make sure that we can get it there and make sure that we can get everything resolved before recording ends up taking place. And if need be, then we can hold recording to make sure that that happens. The 10th step of the home buying process here in Fairbanks is recording. And this is the one that everyone is looking forward to when we start this whole process to begin with. And getting a hold of the keys on the day of recording, which will take place the day after we close. So if we close on a Friday, we won't get the keys until Monday. Keep that in mind. So when we set our recording date, when we're writing our contract, remember, we're recording the day after we close. That's how it happens. That'll be the day that you get your keys and you'll be home sweet home. Apart from that, the only thing that I'll do is we'll keep in contact and make sure that if you have any questions at all about living in Fairbanks or your home, operating your home in Fairbanks, or getting any kind of contractors out to your home here in Fairbanks, the absolute best place to call right here, Apex Realty Group, 907-885-0316. And we'll definitely keep in contact with you to make sure that you're well taken care of.